Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we're focusing on the stomach area. The class has a very good core strengthening component, and at the same time we'll be detoxing and toning into the digestive organs. As always, play where you are, modify if you need to, rest if you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class coming into a goddess-like frame. Find your way into a wide standing straddle. Feet are softly splayed out looking to the corners of your mat. Then begin to bend the knees. Make sure that your knees are stacking more or less over your ankles, and then tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position so that you can feel a lengthening into the lower back and a nice little soft contraction in the core. Instead of coming into a full goddess and opening up the arms into cactus, we're going to use this frame to tuck both hands behind our head in a surrender-like fashion. At first, don't worry about trying to sink too low into the goddess frame. We will get there eventually as we keep coming back here and dropping down. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, you're going to make the right elbow heavy to your thigh. Pause here, reaching long through your left elbow. Inhale to peel back to the center. And then exhale to gently take it to the other side. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, drop down on the right. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale, take it to the other side. One more time to each side, using your exhale to drop and pause. Inhale to come back to the center. Exhale to drop and pause. As you come back to the center, straighten up both legs and relax the arms, long and heavy, at your side. You're going to focus on your right hand. Take a big breath in. Make your right hand and arm heavy to the floor. Sliding your hand along the chain of the leg as far as you can. Then inhale to come back to center. Exhale to drop and reach. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale to drop and reach. Bring it back to center. Find your goddess line. Tuck both hands behind your head. Big breath in. Give me a drop off center to the right. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, take it to the left. 2 more sets. Make sure you're keeping that little tilt of your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Keep that little soft contraction in the core. Keep that lengthening in the lower back. Peel your way back to center. Drop the arms long and heavy at your side as you straighten up through the legs. We're going to drop and reach on the left, sliding that hand down the chain of the leg. Inhale to peel back. Keep your belly button softly pulled into center the whole time. Inhale to come back. One more drop on the left. Ease your way back to center and set up your modified goddess. Big breath in, drop off center to the left. Come back to the middle. Drop off center to the right. Come back to center. 2 more sets. Peel back to center, straighten up your legs, and come back to the right side. You're going to drop and reach on the right, and then give me a bowling action like reach on the other arm and come as close to your ear as you can and pause. Then bleed your way back to your start position. Twice more like this. Big breath in. Exhale to drop and slide. Bowling action, bring that arm nice and close to your ear. Bleed back to your start position. One more time on this side. Drop and slide. Nice little bowling action. Bring that top arm close to your ear and open up as much as you can to the left side of your ribs. Peel back to center. Bend your knees. Find your modified goddess. Big breath in, drop off center to the right. Inhale, come back. Take it to the left. Come back. 2 more sets. Peel back to the center line, straighten up your legs, drop your arms long and heavy at your side. Big breath in, drop and slide on the left, arc and frame on the opposite side. Bleed everything back to your start position. Big breath in, drop and slide on the left, arc and frame on the right. Back to center. Last time, as you're dropping and framing, think of pulling or drawing up the energy from your kneecaps along the quads and the hamstrings. Float back to your start position. Set up your goddess line. Tuck both hands behind your head. Big breath in, drop off center to the left. Drop off center to the right. Trying to maybe drop your pelvis a little bit closer to the floor each time you find your way back into this goddess frame, so that you're starting to feel a little bit of ancillary work into the inner thighs and the legs. Bleed your way back to center and drop the arms long and heavy at your side. You're going to change the angle on the left leg, bringing it in slightly to about a 45-degree angle, so that your hips are angled now towards the top end of the mat. Right toes looking to the top end of the mat. You're going to place your right hand, fingertips just on the inseam of your leg, and you're going to place your left hand, fingertips on your back hip. You're going to slide your right hand as far as you can along the inseam of the leg. If you can, you're going to tap it to the floor. Otherwise, just reach down as far as you can, and then inhale to come back to your start position. Exhale to slide and tap. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale to slide and tap. Inhale to come back to center. One last time. You're going to hold that drop as far as you've managed it, and then open up the other arm, trying to forge a T-frame between the two arms, whether you're low to the mat or whether you're working higher up along the chain. Hold, trying to rotate on the top hip, stacking it over the bottom hip, and maybe peeking up towards the ceiling as you find Utthita Trikonasana, open triangle. Then bleed everything back to your start position. Find your way back into your plie-like line. Bend the knees, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Tuck both hands behind your head. Drop off center to the left. Bring it back. Drop it off center to the right. As you find the pelvis and the waist starts warming up, try to maybe start tapping your elbows closer towards your thigh every time, and try to drop down a little bit lower through the pelvis. Find your way back to center, straighten up the legs, relax the arms at your side. Bring your right leg in and angle it in at 45, and then point the left toes to the back end of your mat. Left hand, back of the hand on the inseam of the leg, right hand resting on your hip bone. Big breath in. You're going to slide down as far as you can, maybe to tap to the floor. And then inhale to peel back. Exhale to slide and tap if you can. Bring it back. One more time, then we'll hold the drop and find our way into open triangle. Open opening up the top arm, trying to get a little bit more rotation on the top hip so that it feels like the top hip is stacking on the bottom hip. And then thinking about the two palms, pretending that you're trying to run a broomstick from the one palm to the other, giving me as close to a T-like frame as you can comfortably forge. Bleed your way back to your start position, and then find your way back into your almost plie-like line through the legs, dropping down a little bit lower through the pelvis, tilt to the 12 o'clock position, find your goddess-like frame, and then tuck both hands behind your head. Big breath in, drop off center to the right. Maybe this time you're actually tapping to the lead thigh, if you can. Let's do one more tap to each side, and then we'll set up a modified side angle from here. Drop the arms at your side and straighten up the legs. Think of a warrior two-like frame. So bring the back leg into 90. So toes are looking in the same orientation as your face, and open up the top leg so that it's looking to the front of your mat. You're going to take a big breath in. You're going to keep that back hand either resting on your hip or just relaxed at your thigh. You're going to bend the lead leg as if you were coming into a warrior two line, and you're going to drop down onto the elbow of the lead arm. Then reverse your frame, tuck your back hand behind your back and think arching warrior and look behind or up towards the ceiling. Then exhale to drop your lead elbow to your thigh, maybe coming back to your hip. And then tuck back behind your back. Drop down, elbow to thigh, back hand to your hip. Then tuck the back arm behind your back and arch your warrior. The next time you drop down elbow to knee, maybe bring the other arm overhead and reach for the sky. Then tuck behind your back and arch your warrior. Let's do that twice more. Drop down to the lead thigh, and then think of bringing that top arm nice and close to your head. Last time. Peaceful warrior, hold. Then bleed everything down. Find your way back into your plie-like line. Set up goddess. Tuck both hands behind your head. Exhale to tap off center to one side. Bring it back. Trying to drop down a little bit lower through the pelvis, and maybe even tapping elbow to thigh. Let's do one more tap on each side, and then we'll set up that side angle on the second side. Your legs should be feeling it by now. Bring in the right leg to your warrior two back line and straighten up your front leg. You're going to bend the lead leg, drop the lead elbow down, back hand resting on your hip. Then arch your warrior, tuck the back hand behind your head. Drop back down to the thigh. Find your peaceful warrior, tucking that back hand behind you. One more time like this. Then start to bring that back hand as close to your ear as you can, so you're getting more stretch into the trunk, and find your peaceful warrior again. Drop back down, elbow to thigh. Bring the top arm as close to your ear as you can. Find your peaceful warrior. Drop down, hold. Reach with that top arm for the parapet or the ceiling. And then find your peaceful warrior and pause here. Bleed your way back into your plie line. Tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Find your surrender-like position behind the head. Drop off center to one side. Bring it back. Drop it off center to the other side. Bring it back. 2 more sets. Dropping as low as you can through the pelvis and maybe aiming to tap elbow to thigh if that's at all possible. Lead back to center and straighten up through the legs. We're going to find a high lunge line on the right. So starting to rotate the back foot in, starting to straighten up your lead leg, and then pivot totally on the back leg, heel coming off the floor and come into a high prayer lunge. If the high prayer lunge is too much for you, you can relax the bottom knee to the mat and take a low lunge instead. Whether you're in the low lunge or the high lunge, you're going to take a soft rotational twist to the right, hooking elbow to the opposite, to the outside of your lead knee, and then come back to center. We're going to do that twice more. Exhale to twist from your lunge line, whether you're high or low. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale to twist and pause. Inhale to come back to center. As you twist the last time, you're going to hold here, maybe keeping your elbow hooked to the outside of your knee, or if you have the range of motion, you can open up both arms into a soft T-like twist. Then bleed your way back to prayer and come back to your plie line on the mat, tucking both hands behind your head. Exhale to drop off center to one side. Inhale to come back, and then alternate side to side for 3 successive rounds. Exhaling as you drop, inhaling as you come back. Last one. Whew, legs are feeling it. You're going to straighten up. You're going to think of finding that warrior 2-like frame, and then start to rotate on the back foot and set up your high or your low lunge if you prefer. Exhale to twist off center. Inhale to come back. Whether you're low or high, you're going to give me 2 more dynamic sets like that. And then you're going to hold your last one, maybe even opening up the arms into a T-like frame. Then bleed your way back into your plie-like line. Drop down nice and low through the pelvis. Find your surrender position. You're going to dip off center, side to side. Last set of 3, and then we're going to change our orientation on the mat, and we'll find our way into a 4-point kneeling frame, and then bring it down onto the elbows. Straighten up. Think of that lunge line we played with in the previous round. Bring your hands down to the mat. And if you're on the tall side, set yourself up towards the top end of the mat so that you've got enough room to fully extend the legs on the mat behind you. We're going to bring it down into an elbow plank position. Drop down onto the elbows. Fingertips are looking to the front of the mat. Hands are stacking about shoulder widths apart. You're going to step your legs back one at a time, and you're going to give me a nice strong elbow plank with your body line as parallel to the mat as you can manage. You're going to give me knee to armpit on the left, bring it back, knee to armpit on the right, bring it back. Then hip dip to the left, bring it back, to the right, bring it back. Let's rinse and repeat. Knee to armpit, one on each side, then hip dip, one to each side. Knee to armpit, hip dip. Let's do one more set. Then find your way into a strong elbow plank and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Start to relax the knees, the shins and the feet. Slide your arms back and find your way into a narrow child pose with your feet staying in that soft parallel line. You will begin to feel a little bit of compression into the belly area. Then maybe begin to intensify that detox and that toning into the digestive organs by peeling up into a high seat and finding your way into a modified frog, Bekasana. Fist your hands, place your wrists on your hip bones with the knuckles looking into center, and then try to wrap your belly over your fists as you try to come back into child pose, relaxing your forehead to the mat and allowing those fists to gently begin digging into your lower abdominal cavity. Take a few steady breaths here. Peel back up into a nice high seat and find your way back into your elbow plank. Then 4-point kneeling and drop down onto the elbows. Step your legs back. We're going to find our way into the side elbow. Float the right arm in so that it's parallel to the front of the mat. And then knife edge your feet and find a surrender position on the top arm. You're going to draw the top elbow and the top knee together and tap back to the mat. Knee to elbow, come back. Knee to elbow, come back. Let's do one more like this. Then ease your way back onto the elbows. Hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Relax back to child. Legs are in a soft parallel line. Then bleed back up. Set up your frog line with your knuckles looking into the center line. And this time, as you fold over your hands, you're going to give me a soft massaging or undulating motion with your fists so that you start getting a little bit more assistance into detoxing and cleansing those lower digestive organs, getting rid of all the toxins that build up in the bowel area, churning things up. Peel back up into a seat. Find your way back into 4-point kneeling and set up your side elbow plank. Make your way into your elbow plank line first. Rotate the left arm in so that it's parallel to the front of the mat. Flip to the left, knife edging your feet, stacking the right hand behind your head. You're going to draw the top knee and the elbow together and tap back to the mat. We're going to do that 5 times. Trying to keep your bottom hip off the mat if at all possible. Last one. Find your way back into a full elbow plank and hold strongly without collapsing through the frame. So you're pushing off your forearms, your core is braced, the fronts and the backs of your legs are also fully engaged. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going to relax back to child pose. Arms are just softly draped on the mat in front of you. Legs are in a soft parallel line, so there's a little bit of compression into the lower belly area. You're either going to stay here or you're going to find your way back into your modified frog with your fists looking into the center line and playing with that soft undulating motion of the fists as you try to peel yourself back to the mat, reconnecting your forehead to the mat. Play with that soft undulating motion. Churn things up in the lower stomach area. Peel back up. From here, we're going to find our way into a high plank line, and we're going to use the high plank line to find our way into fallen triangle, and then we'll try to find some additional oblique and belly work while we're there. Find 4-point kneeling on the mat. Step your legs back one at a time and set up a high plank line. Then think of crossing the right leg over the midline of the body, knife edging the foot. Then think of your back leg, knife edge that foot as well, and come back into your surrender position on the top arm. You're going to think of trying to tap the elbow and the knee together 5 times. Keeping your core strongly pulled in, so engage. Last one. You're going to find your way from here back into your full plank and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Relax your knees, shins and feet. Sit back, bum to heel, and come straight into frog. You can either keep your fists still or you can play with that soft undulating motion as you try to give yourself a fair amount of compression into the lower belly area. Keep trying to breathe nice and deeply into the back of your ribs. Keep your inhalations and your exhalations long, soft, and even. Then peel up into a high seat. Let's rinse and repeat on side 2. Set up your high plank line. Step the left leg across the midline of the body, knife edging that left foot, and then knife edge the other leg or the other foot as well, finding your half surrender position on the top arm. In unison, you're going to think elbow to knee, and then come back to the mat. You're going to shoot for maybe 5 repetitions. Find your way back into your high plank line and hold steady for a count of 10. If you find the high plank is too much, you can drop into a tabletop line, giving me the longest spine you can and keeping your belly pulled into center. We're going to sit back straight into our frog pose from here, finding your fisted line with your wrists resting on your hip bones and your knuckles looking into center as you wrap over your fists, connecting your forehead to the mat. Legs as close together along the midline as you can comfortably manage. Looking for that compression and that work in the lower belly area as you take deep inhales and exhales here. Then bleed your way from here back into 4-point kneeling. We're going to play up some cat-cows. Find a beautiful tabletop line on the mat. Give yourself a little bit of room in front. All right, you're going to start with your hands stacking underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hip points. You're going to inhale to prepare, hollowing out your back and rounding out your belly, taking your chin and your bum bones to the sky, but keeping your belly button softly pulled into center as you find cow. Then reverse the frame on the exhale, hollow out your belly, round out your back, thinking of nodding your chin to your chest and stretch into the shoulders and the lower back. Start to find an oscillating rhythm between the 2 frames. Maybe looking for a 1 to 2 inhalation to exhalation ratio so that you're holding the cat for twice the amount of time that you're holding the cow. So if you're inhaling for, let's say, 3 on the cow, you're going to double up and you're going to exhale for 6 on the cat. Find what works for you, play where you are. Then try to play with the same cat-cow oscillations, but bring it down onto the elbows in a sphinx-like pose and see what that feels like. Maybe starting to work with an audible ujjayi breath. So making an audible sound on the exhale, but constricting the larynx slightly so it feels like you are inhaling and exhaling through a straw. Making sound on both the inhalation and the exhalation, but the exhalation component will be stronger. Then find your way into a neutral spinal line, somewhere between your elbow, cat and cow. Slide the arms forward one at a time and find your way onto the belly so that you end in a nice high sphinx frame. Make sure that you're not collapsing towards the mat. So you're pushing off your elbows and your forearms. You're trying to grow the back of your ribs towards the ceiling. You're keeping your gaze down on the mat just between your 2 thumbs so that your neckline is in neutral. And you're trying to forge the longest spinal line that you can comfortably manage. Your legs are soft and relaxed on the mat behind you, and you're getting a little bit of compression into the lower belly area. Then intensify that push or that compression into the lower belly area by finding your way down into a cobra line. Begin to slide the arms alongside the body as you bring your belly and your chest down to the mat, tapping your forehead to the mat. Maybe your fingertips are just in front of the elbow line and your elbows are squeezing into the center the whole time. We're going to find some nodding baby cobras. Begin by tapping your forehead and your nose to the mat. Pretend that you've got a little marble underneath the nose. Start to roll the marble away from you with the tip of your nose, starting to disconnect your chest from the mat. Coming into a little back extender, maybe stopping just before your bottom rib disconnects and then peeling back down to your start position and starting to play with a nodding-like motion through the head as you bleed up and nod back down. Give yourself a few slow and controlled nodding cobras. Keeping those elbows squeezed into center the whole time. One more, and then we'll find our way into a modified locust line from here. Quick time out. Remember that little frog pose that we came to earlier on when we were in our childlike frame and we brought our 2 fists together along the midline? We're going to bring the fists underneath the belly this time, but this time instead of having your wrists on your hip bones, because that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable in a prone position, you're going to rotate your hands so that your knuckles are looking down towards your pubis. And instead of having such a round hand, you can almost flatten the hand so that there's less of a painful compression into the lower belly. So lying on your stomach, you're going to tuck your fists underneath your belly. Your wrists are looking up towards your lower rib cage and your knuckles are looking down towards your pubis. You're going to relax your forehead to the mat, legs stay relaxed on the mat, and you're going to try to give me 5 rolling chest lifts from here. So finding that marble underneath your nose, rolling up into your baby cobra line, pausing, looking for that compression into your fists, and then bringing it back down. find a steady rhythm up and down here, if you find that working with the fisted line is too uncomfortable for you, you can bring the fists out from underneath your belly and just place your hands alongside your body and repeat that nodding cobra. Then ground your forehead and your head and your chest and give me a single leg lift on the right. 5 little lifts. Then give me 5 on the left. Then still the legs and give me 5 rolling chest lifts. Finding a gentle rhythm of your own. Remember to always play where you are. Checking in and seeing where your body needs to be today. Then let's try to combine the chest and the double leg lift so that we're coming into a little locust lift, balancing or resting on your fists and then reconnecting to the mat. Little almost bow-like frame as you lift the chest and the legs in unison and then softly reconnect your feet and your forehead. We're going to maybe try to hold the last one for a soft or rather a slow count of 10 if you can manage it. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, float everything back down to the mat. Feed the hands out from underneath your belly and roll over onto your back so that you're now in a supine position, repositioning yourself in the middle of the mat. Bend your knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat, and relax the arms at your side. Your spine is in neutral, so there's a little bit of a space between your lower back and the mat. Take a big breath in to prepare. Begin tilting your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Imprint your lower and your mid back. Find that soft contraction in the core. And then on an active exhale, draw both knees in towards your chest and squeeze all of the stale air out. Then bring yourself back to your start position with your feet on the mat and your hands at your side. You're going to play with that little double knee squeeze, Upasana, using an active exhale. Starting to get a little rocking and a releasing stretch into the lower back. At the same time that you detox through the lower viscera and squeeze all of the stale air out of the lungs at the same time. So triple benefit here. Give yourself a couple of good squeezes. Setting up a gentle rhythm of your own and giving me a nice audible exhale. Maybe pursing the lips together and getting me a nice shooting breath that almost replicates the sound of steam escaping from a pressure cooker. Let's do one more squeeze. And then take it from your squeeze into a gentle cradle rock side to side as you relax your lower back into the mat. We're going to find our way from here either into a supine butterfly with the soles of the feet together and the knees open to the side of the room, or you can extend the legs into more of a Shavasana-like position with your big toes looking to the corner of the mat. You're going to place your right hand over your belly, Overlay your left hand on top of your right and just settle your body into the mat. Elbows are softly connected to the mat and relaxed at your side. Then keep your right hand where it is and take your left hand and make a gentle connection to your chest on the left. Close your eyes and take your focus inward. We're going to do some deep belly breathing here. Every time you inhale, you're going to try to keep your chest as still as you can while raising or doming up the belly like a little balloon towards the sky on the inhale. And then on the exhale, you're going to allow your belly to fall back to the floor. You're going to give yourself a few deep belly breaths here, inhaling and exhaling through the nose with almost no audible sound. The left hand is your control, trying to keep the chest as still as you can while focusing on taking the air deep into the belly. Make that little balloon and then deflate the balloon on the exhale. Working into that belly center, that stomach area that we worked pretty well today. Focusing on your Manipuraka chakra, your belly center. Keeping your shoulders and your ribs nice and heavy into the mat. Focusing on nice deep inhales and nice deep exhales. Then relax the arms and the legs, coming into full Shavasana. Arms are at your sides, softly splayed up with the palms looking up to the sky. Big toes are looking to the corner of your mat. You're going to keep those long, lazy inhales and exhales. And on each exhale, just run a soft scan, crown to toes. And just relax and soften your whole body. Not focusing actively on drawing the breath into your belly, but rather just keeping your whole belly button nice and heavy to the mat the whole time as you just take lazy inhales and exhales, trying to just soften, relax, and release your whole body into the mat. Shavasana or corpse pose is such an important part of every class. It's a great way to just decompress, relax, and release. Great way to recenter yourself. Then close off today's class by maybe gently flutter opening your eyes, but keeping them soft and ungazed. Bend your knees, connect the soles of both feet to the mat, giving your lower back an opportunity to relax into the mat, and then maybe overlaying both hands over your belly center, the area that we worked quite well today, and just end off your practice by nodding your chin to your chest on the words Namaste. Stay here for as long as you need to, and then when you're ready to come out, maybe gently rolling onto one side, pausing for a few breaths, maybe in a little fetal pose, maybe using one or both hands tucked underneath your head. When you're ready to righten your body, push up and find your way into a gentle seat first before you come in to standing. Thank you so much for coming out and playing today. Have an awesome day. Till next time, keep it light.